Hello everyone and happy Monday. Welcome to the Cloud Lunch and Learn session. My name is Hugo Barona and today we have with us Ishan Jain that will deliver the session Why Type Your Password Speak. Before I hand over to Ishan, I would like to ask you to follow this Microsoft link or scan the QR code so you can register to this session and access to useful materials related to this session. It is important for us that you do this registration because it's the way to keep going with this community initiative and deliver you free and great cloud sessions. So please save a minute and register on this link before we start. Okay, Ishan, I hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hugo. So what like what is passwords? The other day I started thinking, what is password really? It is just a piece of code which you need to remember in order to authenticate that to say to the site or whatever that yes, you are you. But sometimes and because of the cyber situation we have today, the security and all that the passwords are getting dumped and hackers can access your account, blah blah blah. So why do we still use passwords? Is there any better way? So then I started looking at what Azure has to offer, and I saw one of the services which I'm going to talk about later. And but what it used was it uses voice to verify. It's like we use passwords to authenticate everywhere, like your computer to log in, your mobile to unlock, your PIN essentially, or anywhere on the web. So essentially, passwords are everywhere. But if I say that you can use your own voice to authenticate to everywhere instead. So that's why I started thinking, so why should we type our passwords? Why not just speak? A little disclaimer, the technology I'm going to present to you is still in preview. It's still not mature to replace passwords, but we are a good way to there. A little bit about me. As Hugo said, my name is Ishan, and I'm a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. My main focus of area today is data and AI, and I'm also a big evangelist when it comes to open source. And I'm not going to bore you with details with what Microsoft is and what Azure is, because if you are in this meetup group, then you already know what Microsoft and Azure is. But what I'm going to talk about is maybe cognitive services. Cognitive services is a name of like a suite of services where we have clubbed together a couple of things like text analysis, speech analysis, and so on. And some of these services are like for text API, vision API, search API, translate, and analysis. And what I'm going to talk about is speech recognition API, which is part of speech API. Speech recognition API helps you to verify that somebody is speaking. It has two parts. One is verification and one is identification. I'm going to focus only on verification today, but what I'm going to show is similar process how to identify someone. So because it's an API, you need to follow some rules in order to access it. One of the things is that you need to create a profile. The profile is GUID, which you will get back when you create the profile, and that's how you're going to identify. If you want any other metadata like username, email ID, or whatever, that you have to store in your own application. In Azure, we only identify somebody with uh, uh, profile ID, verification profile ID. So it's a simple HTTP REST call to create, and subscription key, which is here, you can obtain it by registering a free API service in your Azure portal, and you will get a subscription key. And when you're done creating a profile, you need to enroll it. You need to teach the API. Yes, this person is this person. Like you need to put it through like 3 or 4 training exercises in order to API to understand, yes, this is how I speak. Because one sample is not enough. And then after that, you can start verifying stuff. And again, it's simple API calls. You can do it with curl or any other language that supports HTTP REST. So Python, C#, Java. You can even do it client side in JavaScript if you so want. So everything is REST based. And I will go to my demo. Let's jump in, and I will talk about the code a little bit later. So I created a little simple ASP.NET Core application. There are only a couple of things I modified in order for it to work with speech recognition API. And because I said it's not fully replacing the login yet, so I have not integrated it with the identity services yet. So if we go here, users, and I created a little interface that, okay, I already have 3 users, but let's start fresh by creating a user. Great. And as I said, I want to like save the email ID and username that I'm doing in a local DB, my MS SQL instance of a local DB. Oh, sorry, local DB instance of my MS SQL. So now I have created a user, and in the back end, while I was creating this user, I also created a
Sorry,
Hi,
Ishan.
Ishan.
Sorry, we are look
Oh
at
yeah,
the
sorry.
slides, not the demo. Sorry.
Sorry. I didn't share my screen. I thought I did that.
Sorry about that.
Their screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, all good.
So let's start from beginning. So here again, I'm just showing that I created this little application. It is, as you can see, standard ASP.NET Core, bog standard, your bootstrap theme, and so on. And if we go in users, I have 4 users. Let's delete this one and create it again, a new user. And it's created, but as I said, as I was saying that I wanted to store email and username in my local application, so that's stored in a local DB instance of my MS SQL. And while I was creating it in my database, I also created an entry or created a profile. So if I click here on details, I can see what Azure knows about this profile right now. This is the profile ID. I have not done any enrollment yet. I still need to do it at least 3 times, 3 successful enrollments. It is using ENUS, English US as the locale. It was created a minute ago, updated a minute just now. And my state is enrolling. So this is all we are getting back from the speech verification API. How about this? So if I click on enroll, And currently, only these 10 phrases are supported. I'm sure in future it will be any free text, but currently because it's still in infancy, this service, so it's only these phrases are supported. And let's say I choose phrase number 8. My password is not your business. So I click enroll. And by the way, this application is using a web media API built into browser, so I don't need any extra thing, any extra hardware or anything. So my mic and browser is enough. My password is not your business. And now it sends the sample to the server, and I see that it was successfully enrolled once, and I still need to do the same phrase twice. But if I say, let's say, while I was doing the phrase 8, I starting doing using phrase 9, what happens then? My name is unknown to you. And it says it's an invalid phrase. So we do get a bit of feedback what is going on. And if I enroll it again, my password is not your business. Yep, successfully enrolled 2 times and 1 remaining. Let's finish it. My password is not your business. Okay, now I have successfully enrolled it 3 times and have 0 counts left. I can continue training the API, but for now I don't need to anymore. And if we go back to users, and look at details, as we can see, it has been successfully enrolled 3 times, and there's nothing remaining, and it is status enrolled. And if we look at something like user 3, just to show you that it is still on status enrolling, and we have not enrolled it anytime yet. So if we go back here, speech verification, and choose user 4 and click on authenticate, my password is not your business. And the reply I got back from the API is that yes, it accepted it with high confidence. And if I try, let's say I have user 1 and I try to use the same passphrase, even though it's me who did the same training, trained the API, but it's still, my password is not your business. And it rejected because it didn't have a match. But if I use the right phrase, I'm going to make you an offer you cannot refuse. It rejected with normal confidence. That's interesting. Let me just refresh the phrase then. Yep, okay. So 1. I'm going to make him an offer he cannot refuse. And it accepted with low confidence. And it can depend on what mic I'm using, and so on. As I said, it's still fairly new technology. So you should not go ahead and replace your login with this yet. So this is basically where I try to demo that, yes, you can verify somebody and it will actually tell you how confidence it has. Like you can put gates like only with high confidence you will get to log in, not with normal or low. And if we look at code, and if you have worked with ASP.NET Core, you should recognize and I apologize for the size of the screen. See if I can zoom in. There you go. So this is like your standard ASP.NET .NET Core application with your www root folder, controllers, models, views, and if you go down, is a custom wrapper I created for the API. So let's look at that. And let's close this. So the custom wrapper I created has basically 3 main classes and a couple of models and a little extension. It has an API client. It is just a wrapper on top of HTTP client, which is built into .NET Core. And here I put in like so that I don't base address, accept header, the subscription key, and so on, so that I don't need to type it every time I create a call. And then I created wrappers to easily do my post, get, and delete calls. And currently, these are the only 3 methods the API supports. So that's the only one I implemented in this example. Then you have profile service, which basically helps you to create a profile. Here I'm creating profile. Here's the content is the body I'm going to send to the API. Here's the enroll method. So I'm going to read the audio file and send it to the API. And currently it only accepts recorded messages. So yes, you can fool it if you have recorded. But I'm sure there's work being done so that you cannot fool it in future, or it will recognize if it's a recorded or live message or something. And you have get to get the details that I showed you. Get all gets all the profile IDs. Delete will delete it, and reset enrollment is like if you want to change a phrase, basically. So you can do a reset enrollment. And if you go to verification service, again, similar, just a wrapper on top of the methods the API has. It's verify and get phrases. Get phrases is the list. I'm getting the list I showed you earlier in the demo is actually the list I'm getting from the API. And verify is just again record a file, send it to the server, and see if it matches or not. Then again, there are some models for this API, nothing that special. And then we have our ASP.NET Core application. So basically what I modified was, if we look at controllers, is in home controller, I added a new method called upload, which should be actually called verify if we follow the convention. So what it will do is it will get a voice file from the browser and upload it to the server and see if it can verify or not. Nothing like it, just using verification service. And as I created a wrapper around it, it's just a single line. And if we look at this one, there. So it will like upload the file. It will actually handle the upload of the file. As you know, like you need to have a stream reader and so on in order to and then create a temp file, store the data there so that you can actually utilize the data. Standard ASP.NET, nothing that, but what you do is when you record from your browser, you get something in OGG format and with a high bitrate. But this verification API can only handle 16-bit PCM or WAV. So I needed to convert it. So what I did, I created a little method, and in that I'm calling another utility called ffmpeg. So what it does, it can convert anything to anything, more or less. So here I am taking my input file, which I recently uploaded, defining I want PCM 16-bit, 1 channel, and 16K bitrate. and then output to a new file. And that's after it's done, it will actually tell me, okay, after it's like I'm keeping the method, this function alive until it's done. And then when it exits, I know the conversion is done and new file exists. And if we go back here, home is simple, nothing. But if we look at views, home, and this is the div I added to the standard template. Sorry, this part. So I just added a form group with a list of users and a button to verify, which I extrapolated into a partial because I'm going to reuse it when I'm enrolling the same functionality. So if we look at the partial, shared partials, audio recorder. So it has a button and a result model. A result model is the one that's like shows you, okay, it's 3 seconds left, that countdown timer and the thrower. Yes, it's working, sending the data, receiving data, which is here progress bar and so on. And it will show you the message. And that's it to handling that. So to handle the actual call, I had to write some JavaScript code, which resides in the www root folder, JS index. So handle action. So what it does is disables the button because we don't want to confuse the server, and then it starts the recorder, and then make sure that we're following the updates. And in here is the recorder function, which uses media recorder built into your browser. So I'm not using any third party that you need to have third party plugins to your browser or anything, or third party software in order to handle this. It's everything I'm showed you is built in. Nothing extra anybody need to install. And as I said, it records everything in OGG format. And I seem to have lost connection to myself. Let me reconnect. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole JavaScript, but it's basically it starts recording, shows you a thrower, yes, it's doing something. So sorry, it shows you the countdown. When countdown is done, it sends the file to the server. Server will convert the file and send it to the API. That's it. And then if we go to user controller, so again, nothing special here. I'm just getting some data from the server because I'm saving my username and email. So I'm getting that from database, sending it to view. And then when we click on enroll, similar to verify. Sorry, when we click on the enroll will actually just show you a button and phrases. And then here is the enroll post. So again, it uploads the file or captures the uploads and then send it to the API. And create method, as I said, first I create the profile in the API and then I capture all the results and save it to my server. And delete and reset. So reset is just to reset your password, which does reset environments. And this one was never used. So if we go back to your presentation. So that's what I have prepared. And if you want to read more, you can always go to Speech Recognition API documentation, and or the API product page will tell you exactly what you can do and cannot do. Here's the API documentation. It is Swagger based, open API based, so you can actually just download the definition and then create a wrapper from that. And if you want to look at the code, it is posted on my GitHub. I open the floor for questions.
Okay, Ishan, we have here a question. So why speech password is not yet recognized? Actually, what is your opinion when it will be available to use and substitute to writing the password?
I don't have an opinion to when. I just know that it will come soon-ish. And to when, that's because there are so many moving parts. You need to make sure that it's not a recording which you can just play and get access to. If you remember, like when Apple released their face unlock, like people could unlock your phone with just a photo. So that's, and figuring that out is what is taking time, which I believe is the biggest problem.
Okay. I have actually a question for you as well. How do you handle voice authentication in public place where someone can eavesdrop, repeat attacks, or synthetically generate voice passwords, for example, using autoencoders?
Mm-hmm. Well, it is, as I said, similar to the previous one. Like anybody can record you. If you're in a public place, they can just take out their phone, and most phones today have a voice recorder application. But the magic is going to be how to recognize who when is. But public places shouldn't be any problem because you do write your password, you do use your face, and how do you say it? It is your voice fingerprint or voice print that is going to matter. Like everybody has their fingerprint, so their fingerprints are unique to everyone, and you can copy the fingerprint like we see in movies and everywhere. Like they take a piece of tape on a cup and get your fingerprint, and then they can access it. But a real magic comes in how to detect that it's not a live person who is speaking or things like that.
Okay, we have here one more question from Marco. So says why you don't use MP3 instead of OGG as a format?
Because because I was using Firefox and Chrome, and that's the only thing they could handle by default. And MP3, I will need to install extra plugins and so on. And OGG is supported by each and every browser, as far as I know. And MP3 is specific, like maybe Chrome, definitely not on Firefox.
Okay. So apparently we have no more questions.
I would prefer that we could get a raw WAV file directly, so that we don't need to do anything on the server ourselves to convert it. But I didn't have any luck with that.
Okay. So just using this slide, I would like to again to ask everyone to just use the link on the side or scan the QR code so you can register to this session and access useful materials related to this session.
The link actually contains like a couple of things, good to know stuff about cognitive services, speech verification API, and so on. Well, if there's no more question, then that's all from me.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Ishan.
And if you want to contact me, these are the channels I use. LinkedIn
Thank,
is the most prominent for contact. GitHub.com/BitHunter is where I posted the verification, and on bithunter.sa I will soon post the full guide in coming weeks.
just a quick question. In case someone is interested in testing your demo, would it be possible to share the source code via your GitHub repo?
Yeah, it's already posted. Here's the
Okay.
URL.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So there is one little bug fix I will push today, but otherwise it's working demo. And if it doesn't work, and if you want to, just ping me and I will fix it. And again, please do register. And this is like the more people who register is more enables us to deliver more talks.
Thank you, Ishan.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Thank you, everyone, for attending the session and giving your time. And I hope you enjoyed the session. I will drop a link here for a survey where you can provide some feedback so we can improve our future sessions and deliver even sessions related to the topics that you are interested or you think it's useful in your context. Thanks so much.